Everybody, it's Jork. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Portugal real estate, property, why it's so expensive, and what the Portugal government is doing about it, which is virtually nothing. Sorry, spoiler alert, but in our 5 years there was a lot of talk and rhetoric and complaining, but not a lot of active doing. There are over 700,000 properties, empty properties that could be used by people. So not new properties that are being built right now, but actual structures and properties that people could move into. Not all are move-in ready, but most of them are. That's by the Portuguese government's estimation. So with the number of people moving to Portugal, there's plenty of property and availability. Now, most of those properties are not for rent or for sale. They're within families and they're not out there for open consumption. So there's the little gotcha of that. But Portugal doesn't have they have a housing crisis because they want to have a housing crisis. When I say that, the Portugal government wants to have that. It helps drive up prices, especially for Portuguese landlords. They get to charge more rent. For Portuguese citizens who own property, which they're the largest shareholder, as they should be in the country, of property, they are able to charge more for their apartments and homes and farms and commercial businesses. And more power to them. And they can. But it's kind of supply and demand. There's not a lot of available for sale or for rent property, but there's a ton of empty and could be moved into that would take care of the housing crisis and would lower prices easily. There's supply and demand. It still works. It's still economic property that's pretty simple. What's interesting to me is that I've been waiting for someone in the Portuguese government to say something, a Captain Obvious here. And what I always was fascinated by was how low Portuguese, regardless of industry, got paid for what they did and how high they got taxed. And so Paulo Raimundo, Secretary General of the PCP, finally has argued that Portugal, there's no lack of houses, but rather low wages that do not allow people to buy houses at the prices they are charged, or that are charged. And it's fascinating to me because when we lived overseas, everyone railed on us being Americans because we were driving up prices of homes. Interesting. There aren't enough Americans moving to Portugal to drive up anything. We might be able to drive up the cost of eggs or toilet paper, I'm not sure. But we're not driving up the prices of homes. There are thousands, tens of thousands of more British that are there, French that exist. And there are people from other countries. People seem to think that people from India or Pakistan have no money when actually the people that lived in our neighborhoods were loaded, as well as people from Africa. We had several couples from Angola that lived in the apartments to the south of us, and they were loaded. They were in their 30s and 40s, and they were already retired on pensions because they had made a ton of money through whatever means. But that's the problem in Portugal, is as you're looking at Idealista for property, as you are looking for a place to live, you go, gosh, the prices keep going up. Yes, they do. And even though there's more property available, that quality of property versus quantity is always going to be an issue. You want certain things and certain amenities in your property, you're going to have to pay more for it, or work a deal and then install them at a later date if you can. But here's the thing. Portugal, the wages are, I've said this before, criminally low, and taxes are criminally high. And the services that you get, Portugal should have the most amount of social services and the most robust and the best on the planet, given the taxes that the Portuguese have to pay and everyone else that moves there. If you're a tax resident, their amenities should be world class and the best. They should be number one in every category that taxpayers have to pay taxes in based upon how much they get taxed. And Portuguese don't make anything. So it's good to hear, and I hope that there's more rhetoric like this to where wages will be changed. They'll maybe change the tax structure, and I hope the Portuguese people take note of that. And then also this 750,000 empty properties, I hope a lion's share of them, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, will be able to come online to be rented or sold or renovated, whatever. So that in and of itself, even as more people are moving to Portugal, will take care of the pricing and the crazy housing issues. So if you pay people more, you tax them a little less, they can afford more. Shocker. And for those people that are looking to move to Portugal, if 10, 20, 30% of that 750,000 properties come online and are available to rent or sell, it's amazing how quickly that housing crisis goes from being a crisis to being no big deal. So sorry, it's my rant for the day. I got very frustrated. I looked at over 400 properties, almost 500 when I was there, and it killed me to see how many empty properties were in our building and other buildings that could have been rented and just were not. So, but please leave a comment. If you agree with me, please comment. If you disagree, please comment. Either way, please comment. As always, thank you so much for watching and enjoy your travels.